What you're about to hear is not a rumor. It's not a leak. It happened. In public, at the White House press briefing room. The Treasury Secretary of the United States walked up to that podium, reached into his jacket, and held up a bill. A bill with a face on it that has never appeared on American currency. A face that, under current federal law, cannot. May 28, 2026. The Washington Post breaks a story that most people didn't see coming, but maybe should have. According to 4 current and former employees of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, the office that prints your money, Trump administration officials had been quietly pressuring staff to design a brand new denomination. $250. And on the front, President Donald Trump. Now, a $250 bill on its own? Unusual. Not unprecedented. But here's where it gets complicated. Federal law, specifically 31 U.S. Code Section 5114, explicitly bans any living person from appearing on U.S. bonds, securities, notes, or currency. That law has been on the books since 1866, 160 years. And yet, hours after the Post published its story, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent didn't deny it. He walked into the briefing room and he held the mock-up like a trophy. But here's the part of this story most headlines buried. Inside the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, there was a career expert, not a political appointee, a career expert whose job was to oversee currency production. When administration officials pushed for the $250 bill designs, before Congress had even passed any legislation to authorize it, she reportedly pushed back. Shortly after, she was out of her job. The Treasury Department denies she was asked to print the bill before legal authorization. But the sequence of events, request, resistance, removal, was enough to prompt fact-checkers, watchdog groups, and former Treasury officials to raise serious questions. Because there's a pattern here, and once you see it, it's hard to unsee. To understand why this is a bigger deal than it sounds, you have to understand why that 1866 law exists in the first place. After the Civil War, Congress looked at what they'd just been through, a nation nearly torn in half, and they made a deliberate choice. No living leaders on the money. Not because the founders weren't great, because money is power. And printing a leader's face on the currency of a nation is one of the oldest signals of authoritarian consolidation in human history. Look at any country where that's happened.
Saddam Hussein's Iraq, Muammar Gaddafi's Libya, Kim Jong-un's North Korea. The currency doesn't just hold value, it holds a message. Now, is that a fair comparison? That's for you to decide. But the founders were so concerned about exactly this kind of power concentration that George Washington himself refused to appear on currency while alive. He thought it was too close to monarchy. And now, 250 years later, during the celebration of America's own founding, the argument being made is, this is patriotic. Here's what makes this genuinely fascinating, and not in the way the White House expected. A YouGov poll taken just days after the announcement found that more than a quarter of Trump's own base said they didn't want the bill printed. Over 25% of his most loyal supporters against it. Meanwhile, constitutional scholars from both sides of the aisle called the move premature, legally shaky, and symbolically dangerous. Congress hasn't passed the bill. The law hasn't changed, and yet the designs exist. The prototypes were made. The mock-up was shown on national television. The message was sent. Whether the bill ever gets printed or not, here's the thing about money. We don't think about it. We hand it over, we get change back, we move on. But money is a story a country tells about itself. Who we honor, what we value, what we're willing to break, and what we're not. For 160 years, America told one version of that story. And right now, in 2026, someone is trying to rewrite it. Whether that rewrite is bold leadership or the slow erosion of a guardrail, that's the question no pundit can answer for you.
But you should probably be asking it, because the next bill you pull out of your wallet might look a little different.